I'm going to take us to the fifth and final choice, which for me was to embrace my boundless capacity to give love and receive love. I'm going to set a little bit of context and then I'm going to hit go. For me, these five choices for me were linear. I couldn't do one without first doing the other. For other people, it's not linear. I wasn't prepared or ready to acknowledge and embrace that I have the power to give love and I have the power to receive love. But once I did, it was like I saw the world in a whole new light. And what I'm talking about is not love, the emotion. That is not a choice, but love as an action, which is a choice. My daughter and I were talking last night about the word manifestation. She's learning religion in school, and there was something about how this particular religion manifests itself in the world. I was like, hey, that's what I want to know from Merideth tomorrow is love the verb. How does that manifest in your life?
Wow, that's a really big, powerful question. I'm not sure that I can do it justice.
Just go with whatever you are thinking. I want to grab onto.
Kind of that idea of embracing love. I think the first thing you have to do is you have to sort of embrace the whole concept of forgiveness, right? Because, most of the time when we think about love, we think about the people in our life. And we think about people maybe that have let us down, or they maybe didn't treat us the way that they should have given the relationship that they have with us. And, a recent example, I think, I mentioned in my last, in the answer to the last question, that I have a group of 6 sorority sisters that I've been best friends with for 35 plus years. One of them just passed away recently. And she passed away from a horrible, horrible disease that was misdiagnosed from the very beginning. Nobody really knew. It was diagnosed as Parkinson's, but she was re-diagnosed a couple of years ago when her neurologist said, you don't really present like you have Parkinson's. I want to run some tests. Turned out she had a disease called Perry syndrome, which is exceedingly rare. It's probably not as rare as what the statistics claim, because I think it goes undiagnosed a lot. People don't know. Like, we thought her father had Parkinson's, and we now realize that Perry syndrome is genetically passed down can be from generation to generation. And one of the big side effects of that disease is there's a real psychological aspect to it. And the person just becomes a person you don't even know. They're very emotional. They lash out. It's like somebody overnight goes in, does an operation, and replaces their personality with somebody that you don't know, that you don't even know. And until she was diagnosed with Perry syndrome, I think our group really struggled kind of to just relate. We wanted to be there. We wanted to help support her with Parkinson's. We all did research. We tried to learn. But what we couldn't really get our arms around was just all the behavioral ups and downs and the lashing out and some of the hurtful things that happened and got said. And, I think some of us had to, and I'm going to be the first one to say, I think there was a time there where I had to kind of pull back, because I was like, wow, this just hurts too much. And I don't understand it. I don't want to be on the receiving end of it. And, I don't know. I don't know how to handle this. And I think one day I just happened to be thinking about this person and recalling a really fond memory of a time when we laughed so hard we cried. And I also remember when I first met her and she came to University of Maryland, she came up for Greek week. She was going to another school, and she came up for Greek week to hang out with all of us and participate in Greek week. And I remember saying to her, you have got to transfer. We love you. We would love you up here. She transferred the next semester, and she was an amazing person. And when I recalled that memory, I was like, what you need to do is you need to erase the last 10 years of all the stuff that's just happened and the misunderstandings and the angry hurt, the angry words, and just the inability to really understand why she's doing what she's doing. Forget those 10 years, rewind, and only focus on who she was before that first diagnosis. And once we did that, and specifically once I was able to kind of go, you know what, that's who she really is. The person now that has this horrible disease, that's not her. That's just the disease. We need to focus on who she was before this ever started. And once everybody hit the reset button, everybody was able to really come together. We were really, I think, I didn't have the benefit of the proximity to her the way a couple other people in our group did, but the group really rallied, and she passed away in July of this year. And it was a little bit unexpected. It was a huge blow, I think, to our group. And, I think that was a time when, forgiveness is not about, a lot of times is just about what it says. It's just forgiving somebody. Let it go. Move on. Find the good. And I really do believe that that's where sort of that whole idea of embracing love, receiving it, giving it, it's about being able to make that distinction.
Thank you. Thank you, Merideth, for sure for that story. And what I would use Lily's word, the manifestation of embracing boundless love as an act, as a choice. And thank you for embracing me giving you my love and you choosing to give me your love by spending this time with me for the mission that I'm trying to drive. I am honored and privileged to have you be a part of my community and to reconnect and nurture what I hope will continue to be a relationship, an enduring relationship with you.
It's such a privilege to be here, Trish. It really was. And I was so honored when you asked me to be on the podcast. I think what you're doing is incredible. And I think that, as women, as we move through the years, we've had, I think our generation has had, some challenges that luckily maybe future generations won't have those same challenges, but they're going to have challenges of their own. And, everybody needs a lift, a helping hand, some words of wisdom. And sometimes you just need somebody else to look at you and say, I've been there. I get it. So it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks so much for having me. And I'm sure we'll catch up soon.
Thank you for joining me for our Choose and Become interview series. You could find this episode and others at trishkendall.com. Just go to trishkendall.com/choose-become-interview-series. Or if you have a question or just want to leave a comment, email me, trish@trishkendall.com.